I'm the Lincoln Highway Heritage Byway coordinator in Iowa. The Lincoln Highway starts in Times Square and goes to San Francisco. It's the first improved transcontinental road. And it goes through 13 states. In Iowa, it goes through 13 counties and 43 communities. So I've been in my position for about 4 years. And I started out about 3.5 years ago going to community meetings in Tama. There's a section of land near this bridge, and I'll pass out pictures of it. It spells out Lincoln Highway on the side of the bridge. And there's a section of land where the DOT put in a new business road. So there's this little section that's not being used, and a group of citizens made it into a park. They did a lot of cleaning and mowing and trimming and made it into this really nice park right next to the bridge. Well, they're not a 501c3, they're just a group of volunteers that meet. It's a Czech community, so they have these collages that they make. It's a jelly-filled pastry. And they would have these meetings and sit around the table and drink their coffee and eat their collages and say, oh, we don't have any money. We just don't have any money. We need to fix this bridge. You know, the Lincoln Highway was formed in 1913, and this bridge was built in 1915, and it needs some work, but we just don't have any money. So meeting after meeting after meeting, it was the same conversation. And I'm like, oh, it really isn't their bridge to fix. They have the park next to it, and it's called the Lincoln Highway Bridge Park. So the bridge is the story of why there is a park there. So I went to the city clerk and talked to her, talked to the mayor, talked about how we could find funding for this. And the city clerk said, well, you know, another guy blew into town, and he said, he just kind of eyeballed it. He was looking at another bridge, but he said it would be about $50,000 to fix it. And I said, well, I really need something in writing to go apply for grants. I can't just say we were told it would be this. So in this community of 2,700, I know that they've applied for community foundation grants. Has to do with the casinos in Iowa, that there's so much money collected and then they have to disperse it through grants. So every county has a community foundation that distributes that money. So we applied for a Tama County Community Foundation grant, and they give little bits and pieces to a lot of different organizations. So it was $2,000 that we received from them. City of Tama did go out and get an engineer to come in and say, here's what we're going to do, this, here's what it's going to cost. Ended up being $114,000. So I was glad that I had that in writing, because if we'd only asked for 50, it wouldn't have been enough. So we got $2,000 from them. The Lincoln Highway Association was formed back in 1913 when the highway was first designated, and they helped promote it and get the signage along the road. They painted telephone poles and different things, but then they did have a partnership with the Boy Scouts of America to put in these concrete posts that have the Lincoln head medallion on the side of them, and the big L is their logo. And so the Lincoln Highway Association is a big piece of the story of the Lincoln Highway. They disbanded in 1928, feeling that their job was done. And then in 1991, a group of people in Greene County in Iowa formed the Greene County Lincoln Highway Association, and a year later they formed the National Association. So now there's like 800 members across the nation. They're not just in Lincoln Highway states, but in all the states. And so they gave $3,000 out of their national grant, and then we went to a private foundation and got $25,000. And then the city was going to cover the 22 of the engineering fees. So we were pretty well set. We thought we were moving along pretty well. Then we applied for a historic resource development program grant out of the State Historic Preservation Office. And the most you could get was $50,000 from them. And we were told that we were a very, very good candidate for this, that it was, they felt it was important. And the Lincoln Highway lettering originally was paid for by residents. they wanted it to be a unique bridge, and so they pooled their money to do that. So we applied for the grant and did not receive it. And I felt like I'd let the whole town down because we didn't come through with the $50,000 for them. But, you know, talked back and forth about what we could do, other places we could apply, tried some transportation companies and did not receive funding because that wasn't their thing. And we went back to the DOT and said, you know, it's a bridge. They go, yeah, but it's historic. It's the preservation office. And we went to the preservation. Yeah, but it's a bridge. You know, so we were bantering back and forth. Well, we did apply for the HRDP grant again this year, and we were successful. And so about 3 weeks ago, we announced that we got $50,000. And since then, we did go to the Tama City Council meeting shortly after that announcement, shortly after the announcement, just to make a formal announcement. They already knew that we got a city council, the mayor, and everybody. So we went there, and on the agenda ahead of us was the Lions Club. And they got up, and you know, I'm thinking more about what I'm gonna say than what is ahead of me in the agenda, but they said, we had this fundraiser and we were going to give our money to this other project, but we heard that we're really close on the bridge getting that repaired, so here's $1,000. So I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Once they said bridge, I was like, what? What are you saying? So here we had another $1,000. And since the announcement, the city has gotten $500 checks, $100 checks, $50 checks, and I'm really excited to get back to the office to check in with the city clerk and see like how much money they've collected. But it just created this excitement, and I think back to those meetings where everybody sat around going, oh, we don't have any money. We don't have any money. We can't do this. And now they're like, oh, the state cares about us? I mean, this bridge, people come from all over the world to have their picture taken by this bridge. And to them, it's just the bridge on East 5th Street that you cross over every day. And they don't know the impact of it and the importance of it. They know it's cool. They know that they like the lettering. But yeah, it's an important piece of the Lincoln Highway history. So another thing is that the Boy Scouts of America have this relationship with the Lincoln Highway. So they, in 1928, went across the whole United States and put up these concrete posts with the Lincoln Medallion on them. And this Eagle Scout took on getting an original one and putting it in this park. And we helped him with the interpretive panel. It's a weather steel base at the bottom with the Iowa Byway logo cut out on that. And then the top part is an arch, and it has different icons that you can have cut into it. Some of them we've done are old cars, old gas stations. This one has the Boy Scout symbol, the fleur-de-lis, and then the pledge with the fingers, or the hand. And so his ribbon cutting was Friday night. I mean, this is how recent this is. He just got the interpretive panel installed, and it's helped create momentum too, and we do press releases about the Boy Scout project, about the grant, and everybody's excited about this bridge, and it's gonna happen, you know, and that's exciting. The other thing I want to talk about are brochures that I did. This one was out of our CMP that Chris makes fun of. That was.
Oh yeah.
That thing's 4 inches thick.
He said something about a big thick CMP the other day, and I'm like, yeah, that's mine.
Get a herd to figure that thing out.
So we took the intrinsic qualities and put it into this 52-page brochure. It's broken up by intrinsic qualities, and then by county, and then by city. So my husband likes to hunt and fish. He doesn't really care about museums. He doesn't care about the historical or cultural as much as he does about natural and recreation. So I broke it down so people like him don't have to read through the whole thing to see what they want to see. But then we did make another camping and recreational brochure. I have a brother-in-law that belongs to the Winnebago Club, and he said, we're always looking for different places to go. Do you have anything that would tell me? More so than just here, because this has all the different amenities at all the parks. And so we created this brochure, I gave it to his group, and we passed, we go to the state fair every year for the past couple of years. We do that as all the byways chip in and help do that. So at the state fair, the first year we handed out about 800 of these. Just read last night, there's 3.1 million people in Iowa, and 1.1 million of them go to the state fair. So and our traveler is fellow Iowans. So it's the best place we find to tell Iowans about Iowa. Although it's unique because the tourism department used to go to the state fair, but they didn't think it was worth it. And we're like shaking our head going,
every
oh,
day. So
why? This is
How many
where Iowans
byways are in Iowa?
Pardon me?
How many byways are in Iowa?
There were 11 and they just named 3 new ones
3.
last year. So there's 14 altogether. 2 are national byways, the Great River Road along the Mississippi, and then the Lust Hills on the western side along the Missouri. So we created this brochure for camping and recreation, and we handed out about 800 of these last year, and probably about 500 of these last year. So momentum's building. This year we did a kids activity booklet. I got an idea from this in Pennsylvania when I went on a tour there for the Lincoln Highway Association. But we also included, it's like a passport type program, so besides being informational and games and things, there's a place back here with ads that the kids can go to these places. I created a stamp for each of the places. They can stamp the back of their booklet and turn it in and get a prize from me. Now, since it goes across the whole state, it's very long. There's 15 spots here, but we ask that you do at least 8, because we figure you could probably do that rather than asking a parent to drive the whole length of the byway. If they wanted to, that's fine. Had a quota of $2,500 and did not get my grant. So it sat on the shelf for about 6-8 months. And I said, okay, well, let's go back and get a new quote just to make sure it's up to date. Well, it came back at $5,200, which was more than double. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now what am I gonna do? I don't have a grant, it's even more money. How am I gonna pay for this? I can't do a whole booklet of just ads. That takes away from the content. So I went to the Lincoln Highway Association meeting, which I serve as a secretary, so I had to be there at the meeting. And I said, I'm working on this booklet for kids, and they're like, oh, well, we used to go into the school systems and teach about Lincoln Highway, and this would be a good thing, if we get back into that to use, we'll give you about half of the money. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of like having my grant. So I can go out and sell my ads. Well, then I started selling ads at $200. These were $100 each. But these were $200 because we're actually driving somebody to your location to use your services, and not just, hey, I exist. So I was selling $200 ads, and then the advertisers are like, so this was all going to be black and white inside? And they're like, oh no, we want color for our ad. Like, okay, so I went back, okay, what's the quote for color? $6,000. Well, then maybe I don't have enough. I would need more ads. I'd either have to cut content or add more pages, and then that's going to make it more expensive, and what am I going to do? Well, my original idea was to take this bingo and make it a sticker, so they would peel off the sticker and put it on the page. And just by removing the sticker idea and putting the icon right on the bingo page so they can just exit off when they see a car or a motorcycle or deer or whatever, that reduced it to $3,000. So I had my money from the Lincoln Highway Association, I had my ad money, I could buy the stamps, I could mail them out to people, I could buy them a brochure holder, and actually had some money left over at the end. So sometimes it's just how you think about your project. I don't think any kid's gonna go through the book and go, where's the stickers? And I don't think it detracts from anything in here. I think it's better that it's color. I could actually get 1,000 more copies in the long run and still have money left over. So that was another good success.
So do you have all the money you need for the bridge?
Do we have all the money? I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think we're probably maybe have 6 of the 12,000 we needed in just 3 weeks. So that's pretty good.
Good job.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. And they haven't gone to any like big businesses. There is a Meskwaki casino right next door, like a mile from town, that we might approach too. But for Our Place America, we looked at it as many different projects all put together in one, which was interpretation, oral history, art, restoration of the gas station, and repurposing it. So we applied for this Art Place America grant, which was $500,000, and out of 1,000 applicants, we were one of 70 to go on to the second round, which involved a site visit. They would come on this day at this time, and you had this much time to talk to them, and then they were on the road again. So they came, visited, we did our presentation, and unfortunately, or fortunately, we were not awarded the money. But out of that, we had 3 gas stations we were working with. This is Youngville, which is one of them, and this is out in the middle of nowhere. It's between Cedar Rapids and Tama. It's a 52-mile section with nothing but farmland and this
one gas station.
One place, yeah, which they don't pump gas anymore. The cafe is open seasonally, and there's no more cabins there. But this guy built it out in his pasture for his widowed daughter to live upstairs with her kids and operate the property down below so she'd have an income. So it's just kind of an oasis out in the middle of a 52-mile section of Highway 30 that, according to the Benton County Comprehensive Plan, they do not want any other things built along that road, so it's not going to have competition. But we thought this would be a good place to put a charging station for people that need a charge. And the other gas station was at Reed Island Corner, which is in Colo. It's the intersection of the Jefferson Highway, which goes from Winnipeg to New Orleans, and just got named a byway in Iowa. And then the Lincoln Highway goes the other way across the nation. So this was a place that was a stop for the Greyhound and Jefferson bus lines, and was open 24/7, had a cafe, a gas station, and a motel. And the motel still operates, the cafe is still open, and they no longer pump gas, but it's a museum there. So we thought that would be a good place too. And the other place was in Belle Plaine, and that was a property George Preston owned, and he has all these old gas and auto metal signs outside of his building, and it's photographed quite a bit. His granddaughter actually inherited the property and moved back from Kansas City to live in the house. And I think we scared her with this project because we said, no, you just moved in last week, now here we're gonna go with the gas station and the garage and get that renovated. But it's caused excitement for her, even though we weren't granted the money. She is now applying for her own grants and trying to move forward on her property. We did get a small grant to restore an oil room here, and we're working with some projects at Reed Island. So even though the project maybe doesn't turn out the way you think it should or that you want it to, I think in the long run it does, because this, without having stickers in it at the state fair, would have been considered contraband because you can't pass out stickers. So they would have asked us to put that away. Instead, we were able